supposed to be a heap, it's got frames in it and so on, but Bob was in Nicaragua, and they have some little bees there. I probably should have had this hive for them, right? Anyway, start with the bottom board. The construction, look at your pictures that you have on the components of these hives. But this bottom board, there are a number of different types of bottom boards. And Bob's going to help me on this one. I didn't bring a bottom board, Bob did. But there's a regular bottom board, which is, wait, hang on. I didn't put this on here. There are screen bottom boards. And screen bottom boards are good because when the bees are moving around, and you're going to have mites. When I was in Norway, visiting a beekeeper when we were in Sweden, Norway, and fellows said, we don't have mites. They didn't. They do now. So the bottom board is screened. The bees, they kind of glue one another. It's just like, you know, once in a while my wife scratches her back, I'll scratch her back too. Anyhow, if we had a leech on us, I'd take the leech off her back and so on. Okay? But I'm just making kind of an analogy there. All right? So with the light, it'll go down through that screen. Now, what you should do is put a sticky or put Vaseline on the pan down below so that the mites can't get loose. They can lay there and die. Okay? Good. Okay? So that's a screen bottom. Bob has several different ones of those. The screen bottom board, people leave the screen bottom board on in the winter, and under the board you can slip in there to shut the air off. Okay? We'll get to that in a moment. It has a rabbit on the end, on each end for the frames to hang. And they actually hang. You don't have the frame touching one another because the bees walk between the frames in the hive. The brood chamber, now personally, Rob I think does it with me, but when we put bees in, I always start in April with the bees in a medium super. My reasoning is that they don't have so much room to have to heat up. So if I have a medium, it doesn't make a difference whether it's a medium or a deep. By fall, the bees are going to be up here. They're going to be up in the next super. So start with a medium. Either Liz Vinosky, who was all over the, I think, the United States, who was a beekeeper, and she says you have to have a playground for the bees, and that's why you put that little medium down at the bottom. You start the bees, and then they'll work their way up to the, then you put a deep on top of that. All right? So you start with get a 9.5 or 9 5/8 deep. Honey supers are 6 5/8, or if you really want the shallow, I think they're 4 and 11 16. Okay, all right. So the honey supers, and you should have at least 2 deeps. You start with 2, Bob. Deeps, you start with 2. Okay. Frames. If you're starting out new, you have new foundation. I'll talk about this in a little bit. You put 10 frames in, because if you put 9, the bees fill in spaces that are much more than, I think it's 5/8. What's less than that? It's 3/8. It's 3/8. They'll fill in spaces, and call it burr comb, all kinds of frames. So you start out with 10 frames. There are different kinds of frames. I'm going to pass these around. Her husband was a beekeeper, and in the year that we had the convention, her husband had a severe heart attack. He died within a week or so later. She had to sell the equipment. He called me and says, what do you call these things? Well, this is the top bar. I have individual one somewhere. That's this round. and look at it, and it says it's a groove top bar. There's different kinds of top bars, all right? So, you put a different, specific type of frame in a particular type of groove or wedge top bar. All right, so top bar, end bar, bottom bar. And there's different types of bottom bars, different types of top bars. End bars are pretty much standard, with the exception that a friend of ours kept these in the River Falls area, and he doubled everything up. So his frames this deep. He had to make special boxes. So it's interesting. I have a video on that. Okay, this is a wedge. The bar that's coming around is a groove top bar. It's just grooved. I mean, so it's grooving. All right. Well, you look at this one. It looks like it's just a groove too, right? But you'll see a little strip of wood right here. I'm not going to snap it out. But what you do is just give it a little push like that, and it comes out. So this is a wedge top bar. With a wedge top bar, you use a specific type of foundation, and the foundation has little hooks on it, and so you put that here, and then you wedge that in, and you nail it. Now I staple it. I use a really long, it's not 3/4, what is it, 9, 7/16, something like that. But when you nail it, push that holds that foundation in, and then when you push that and staple, the stapler usually doesn't push the staple all the way down, so I have to hammer. The reason I don't use nails is it's quicker. The bees are not Hercules, or whatever you want to say, Atlas. They can tear some things up, but they're pretty good. So staple these together. It's much easier.
You make these yourself?
Oh yeah, I have, yes. The only thing is, when I made them, and I made at least 100 of them. If you've got a jointer, I go with my son-in-law. I'm not a good carpenter, but I made them. But with the wood I had, I put those frames in, foundation, everything I'm going to do. Those bees didn't like it. No, I kind of forced them into it. So they showed me they didn't like it. I don't know where they got it, but they put gluey red all over the thing. I don't know where in the world they got the stuff. They showed me they didn't like it. And it took them a while to accept it. So I don't know what was in the wood, but it was construction wood. So, and I didn't use the green treated. I know I did not use the green treated. All right? So you can pass this around. This is just a wedge shop, but you can see that cut. And it's cut so that that wedge will pop out really easy. And then you put a certain type of foundation in. Okay. Well.